Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. It's time for Tarot Scopes again. We're going to be doing the Tarot Scopes for the sign of Libra. That's Libra Sun, Libra Moon, Libra Rising for the month of October 2025. Yes, it's time for October. So, before we get started, I just want to welcome my new subscribers. Welcome to this wonderful community of like-minded souls. To my tried and true, who have been with me for years, I really do appreciate your continued support. It's been a long and interesting journey. To my new members on my YouTube channel, thank you for your membership. It really helps me to spread my work, and hopefully give people the perspective that they need. And to my Patreon folks, thank you so much for your continued and growing support. I really do appreciate you all, and more videos to come. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the astrology of the month, and then how it affects your sign, Libra, and then do a card reading. I will timestamp that so you can go right to the reading if you prefer. Okay. Let me share here. Okay, so we're looking at the month of October, and in the year 2025. So the vibrations we're working with this month are, of course, the 9 vibration, which is the universal year vibration. That hasn't changed. That started in January. 9 is a vibration of endings and new beginnings. It's sort of like we are letting go of all those things that we no longer need. Um, and then um, in preparation for a new beginning. And of course, that new beginning happens in 2026 when we move into a 10-1 vibration. So this is a year for us to really decide what we want to keep in our lives and what we want to let go of. And we do have the nodes of the moon at this time, with the North Node in Pisces, which pretty much says let go, let go and trust, let go and trust in spirit. And then the South Node in Virgo will say to us, s- stop waiting for the perfect moment, perhaps. The perfect moment is now. Virgo is, a little bit notorious for wanting to do just one more thing because it's not quite perfect enough. So perhaps we need to let go of the need for perfection or for people to line up perfectly with either our opinions or our worldview or our religion, or, it's almost like Virgo is specific, and Pisces is general. And so we're being asked to let go of the specifics. Um, and so that's one way to see it. But let's start looking at the days here. And we start the month with a pretty feisty square between Mercury and Jupiter. Although I will say this, Mercury is in Libra and Jupiter is in Cancer. And so there is those two signs are concerned with others. In Cancer, it's family. In Jupiter, it's relationship. I mean, Jupiter. In Libra, it's relationship. But the square does bring crisis. So we have a crisis in our relationships. And of course, there can be, with crisis comes action. It's a crisis in action. So we feel the need that we need to do something, and perhaps do something quickly. We just came out of September. And as you know, September was a real game changer. And we're sort of, as we move into October, we're dealing with the residuals to a certain extent, which will continue to affect, but we're dealing with the chaos of last month still. On the 6th, Mercury moves into Scorpio. At the same day, we have a full moon in Aries. This is the full moon lunation for the month. It's at 15 of Aries, an Indian weaving a ceremonial blanket, cosmic consciousness. The symbol is talking about how we're all weaved together, how we all make the whole blanket. And, I, anyway, I'll just keep it there. Um, Once Mercury moves into Scorpio, it is going to hit all the transpersonal planets, and most of the aspects are challenging. It starts with an inconjunct to Mercury, and then an inconjunct to Uranus, and then a square to Pluto. The inconjuncts of Uranus and Neptune are part of a yoga configuration because Uranus and Neptune are right now in a trine to each other, a sextile to each other. So they're communicating with each other, and then Mercury sort of is in the point of the yod. So Mercury has a lot of pressure on it to change, to adjust, and the square to Pluto brings up issues around trusting authority. So there is definitely a rebellious points to this month. On the 8th, Venus will sextile Jupiter. That's really quite nice. It's opening the lines of communication. This is a time when we can get together and talk about solutions or talk about problems or its perspectives. So we have the information we need to build relationships, on the 11th, Venus will oppose Saturn, and then on the um, 13th, Venus opposes Neptune. Now, Saturn and Neptune are working closely together still. They're still in that close conjunction. Although now Saturn is back in Pisces, but they're still conjoined each other. So we have Saturn in the sign of dissolution. We have Neptune in the sign of becoming. Um, it's an interesting configuration in a way. Um, but every planet that that hits or that aspects Saturn will then aspect Neptune. Now Saturn is reality and Neptune is unreality. And so there's this sense of reality sort of being very fluid. And is it real? Is it not? Is it a lie? Is it a truth? Right? All these conspiracies, who's really telling us truth? What is the truth? Blah, 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 right? So we are really struggling with the idea of what is real and what is not real. Um, on the 13th, that's the day that Venus opposes Neptune. Actually, after it moves into Libra, which I'll talk about, Pluto goes direct. Now, Pluto is one of the outer planets when the outer planets change direction or apparently change direction. They don't actually do that. It's just the way it looks from planet Earth. It usually builds up a lot of power, especially Pluto and Uranus. And this is a Pluto station, and usually something big happens in the outer world. There's a lot of big things happening, so we'll see what that's about. But it does put more power. Pluto has more power, and Pluto is going to be moving forward in the sign of the people. As that happens, we have Venus trining that Pluto, and then Venus trining Uranus. So we have a Venus, Uranus, Pluto grand trine in the sky. And that's creating a lot of energy of change and transformation in our relationships. We might find that people we were totally in disagreement with, we're going to totally agree with. It's kind of like the upside down. But it's okay because there's no at this point I feel like because of the warping of reality, if I could call it that, um, um, it's it's almost like nothing is sticking. Nothing is sticking. The lies aren't sticking, nor is the truth. Um, for any period of time. it seems. Okay. Um, the sun will square Jupiter on the 17th. That can be the sun, Jupiter, because they're the largest planets in the solar system and they have the most mass, they kind of take up the most space. So there's this sense of taking up too much space, overextending yourself with that. So be careful you don't hurt yourself. Don't go too far. You have to move forward. That's important, but you don't want to overstep because it can, it's just best to watch yourself with that. Okay. On the 19th, Mercury conjoins Mars, especially because in 2 days later we have a Mars Mercury conjunction. Mars and Mercury are considered personal planets. Mercury is the planet of the mind, Mars is the planet of action and energy. So there's a lot of energy and there's a lot of energy behind our words, Mercury. There's a lot of action. Action speaks louder than words might be one way to look at this, right? It's interesting that the Sabian symbol at 20 degrees of Scorpio, where this actually does happen, says a woman draws away two dark curtains, closing the entrance to a sacred pathway. Faith in the future. Faith in the future. After September, I do think that October is a month we're turning something. Something is turning over. We have the 10-1, which is about the Wheel of Fortune, things turning. We have the 19-1 when we add the 9 universal year and the month vibration of 10, the 19-1. This is revelation. So things are going to be revealed. This card is very often associated with oppositions in astrology because what oppositions do is it illuminates us, and so does this card when it comes up in a reading. So if we look at the oppositions that we have, Venus to Saturn, Venus to Neptune, what else we have? We have Mercury to Uranus. These oppositions are quite powerful. Um, I think there's maybe one or two more. Let me see here. Oppositions. And of course, the full moon is in opposition, right? So there's a lot of illumination. And in point of fact, this full moon is very much connected to the energy of illumination. Maybe an illumination of truth and justice. I guess we'll see. Um, on the 21st, we have a new moon in the sign of Libra. Involvement in humanity's evolution of wisdom. The Sabian symbol further speaks. We take from our ancestors and pass to our descendants, and thus co-create the flowing and flowering of knowledge. The flowing and flowering of knowledge. So it's us to up, it's us to up, it's us up to us to up. It's up to us. It's early and I haven't had any coffee. It's up to us to be the bridge, be the bridge. Bear witness to what's going on. I'm not sure there's much we can do besides bear witness and stay focused on the world we want to see and take small steps to get there. Other than that, I don't think we have um, much to say, but we do have much power and much to do. So maybe it's more about doing than saying, but let's continue. On the 22nd, we have Neptune move back into Pisces. It's going to be in Pisces for a couple of months. It only stays at that last degree. The last degree of Pisces is becoming what you idealize. So this is sort of, you're creating your own reality, your own identity by that which you idealize. So if you idealize truth and justice and fairness and equanimity and equal opportunity and freedom, then you become that. If you idealize power over dynamics, cruelty is the point, You become that. You have to understand. Honestly, in a way, the best we could use people to inspire us, but we're our own people, right? We can aspire to things that we see somebody who's um, truthful or courageous to speak their truth, and we can admire them, right? All right. On the day that Neptune ingresses back into Pisces, the Sun ingresses into Scorpio just after it makes an inconjunct to Neptune, because Neptune is now in Pisces, and the Sun is at the last degree of Libra and then moves into Scorpio. So we have a lot of sort of movement on this day, and it's mostly movement into water, right? We have Neptune moving back into Pisces. We have the Sun moving into Scorpio. So we have this water energy. We do have to watch for floods, I think, at this time. On the 23rd, we have the Sun, now that it's in Scorpio, kind of has to go through the gauntlet that Mercury did when Mercury went into Scorpio. And so it makes the inconjunct to Neptune, the inconjunct to Uranus, and the square to Pluto, bringing up all that revolutionary, rebellious, evolutionary, and need to make adjustments. And the adjustments this time are to our ego, as opposed to the first time the adjustments were to our mind. On the 25th, we have a lovely, oh, actually on the 24th, we have Mercury trine Jupiter, and on the 25th, we have Mercury trine Saturn. Jupiter and Saturn are actually in orb of a trine to each other, and it is part of the Saturn-Jupiter cycle that began at the end of 2020 when those two planets conjoined in in a in Aquarius, the first degree of Aquarius. A lot of people sort of point to that as being the beginning of the Aquarian age. And while I don't really think that's true, I think we've been working in the Aquarian age for centuries now. It's just little bits, it's occult stuff. But once the hidden becomes seen, it can expand. And I think what happened in at the end of 2020 was um, the idea of the Aquarian age became more of a social movement, or something to do with society actually waking up to that, not just individuals or teachers or astrologers or occultists or people, psychics, people were actually realizing that, hey, wait a minute. And with the technology as it is, we have the and science as we've come to understand it, we have abilities and understandings we haven't had before that could be really helpful. um, but the old guard is still not willing to let go, it seems. All right. Mercury trine Jupiter Saturn, that's really that's very good. A lot of discussion um, around society and what it means to be in a society and what's at stake, stuff like that. On the 28th, Mars makes a trine to Jupiter, and this is the trine is a nice aspect, but Mars, depending on you know what sign Mars is in Scorpio. Um, Scorpio is a sign of extremes. So Scorpio is about extremely good or extremely bad, and both things will happen simultaneously. So we need to be aware as we move through this month, I think, especially. On Wednesday, Mercury trines Neptune, and then it enters Sagittarius. As soon as it enters Sagittarius, it makes an opposition to Uranus. That's one of those oppositions I talk to. Mercury and Uranus have a special relationship because Uranus is considered the higher octave of Mercury. Oppositions bring awareness. So there's awareness between our higher awareness, our higher self, our higher mind, and our Mercury, our awareness of, we use Mercury, or Mercury's function is to be the interface between the inside, like what we're feeling, what we're thinking, what we're experiencing, and the outside, which is the outer world. So we're getting a view from both ends in a way, and I think it's an important realization. It's occurring at the first degree of Sagittarius and Gemini. Those first degrees are very active because many of the planets are at the first degrees. So everything is interconnected and you can't like keep anything separate really. And then on the 30th, Mercury makes a sextile to Pluto. This sextile is a sextile of progressive change. Mercury is the mind. Pluto is power, actually. Um, and I would like to think that those who have power will utilize their power for the good. But we all have power, and so we all have a stake, and we all should, I guess. And I don't like the word should. I tell people to stop shooting on themselves, and I use the word. Um, we are our brothers and sisters keepers. To a certain extent, it's going to be up to us to keep each other safe as we move through this rather difficult time. All right, let's go into how it affects you, Libra. And so let's move through these quickly. All right, so we see the Sun card here. And the Sun is in your sign. We're starting the month. Actually, right, this is your month. This is your month. This is the month when the Sun is in Libra, and the longest, right? It's a 30-day thing, but most of those 30 days, or the majority of those 30 days, uh, are in October. So this is your season. So as we start, we have the Sun uh, in that first house. So you're shining bright. You're probably trying to get people to get along. I don't know how easy that's been. Venus, which is your ruling planet, actually starts its month in the 12th house, where it really does like to be. Venus does like going through one of the few planets that likes the 12th house, to be in the 12th house anyway. And then it's going to move quickly into your sign, Libra. So you have your ruler in your sign, and then as it does that, it makes a trine to Pluto, a trine to Uranus, this grand trine in the fire houses. So this is inspirational. This is relational. There's a lot of power here, a lot of power of inspiration, a lot of power of of vision, and the possibilities for the future. We can see here's the full moon here in the seventh house in Aries, and then of course the Sun will be in the first. So we get quickly at the beginning of the month illumination around ourselves and our relationships, right? For Libra. Then the Sun is gonna move into the second house. The second house is our values. Mars has been there. Mars will be there all month through Scorpio. Mars in Scorpio is powerful. Mars is one of the ruling planets of Scorpio, so it works really well, digs really deep, um, can get under your skin a bit. Mercury starts the month in the first house there, in your first house, then moves to the second. And when it moves into Scorpio, that's when it's getting the yods from Saturn and from Uranus. I mean, yeah, and Neptune and Uranus, and then the square from Pluto. Um, so this is the house of resources. So you may feel a little squeezed on your resources. Here's Pluto in your fifth house. Um, Here's Neptune and Saturn. Saturn is in Pisces in your sixth house of health. You do have to watch your health with Saturn there. It's going to be there for a couple months, so you really do have to watch. Pisces can be your immunity, your immune system. It is the ocean, so it can have to do with waterborne stuff. So just watch yourself with that. Neptune starts the month, right, in the seventh house. It's been there for a couple months. Have you enjoyed it? I don't know. In Aries, now it goes back into Pisces. It'll be back into Aries, I think, in January. So just a couple of months with Saturn and Neptune both back in Pisces. Sort of power washing, whatever house it's in. Uh, Uranus in the house of truth and justice. This can be revelations of truth, right? The truth comes out. Jupiter in your 10th house. This is your house of public standing. You are going to be seen in a big way. Your public standing is rising because of Jupiter. So people are going to see you, everything that you do, probably. So, you're a Libra, so you're pretty well aware of people's expectations and putting on a good face for folks. But you also want to be true to yourself, right? So you have to do that and know that it's going to be seen. Okay. So that's what I want to say about the astrology. I probably should have had a cup of coffee before I did this. So if I was a little slow and rambling, I apologize. Okay, let me find a card to use. I know I had cards here. Okay, here we go. I think these are yes, the Hermetic Deck. We use the Hermetic Deck for Libra. All right, so what does Libra need to be aware of this month, the month of October? Libra's big month. Okay, just a couple more shuffs. Libra, what does Libra need to be aware of in October? What message, oops, do you have for Libra? The Princess of Wands. This is a message from spirits. Message, good news. Ooh, we have good news for Libra. That's cool. One more. Okay. I usually shuffle them till they feel like right. They feel about right now. I go by feel. Okay. Libra. Oh, we have the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords. This is a betrayal. This is actually a Libra card, too. The Three of Swords is connected to Libra. There it is. See Libra up there? Saturn in Libra. Um, Saturn in Libra is also the law. That is, the United States has in its Sibley chart has Saturn in Libra, the rule of law, right? But this is about sorrow and betrayal. So there's been a betrayal. Um, the crossing card is the universe. So there's been a betrayal, maybe around an ending. Something had come to the end of something, or the end of the betrayal. It could be the end of the betrayal. Let's see. Underneath, we have the Ace of Cups, happiness. So the question here is, when will he be happy again? I think that we want to see an end to the pain and the suffering and the sorrow. And underneath it all is the need for love, is the need for love. In the past, we have the victory card. So there was a victory of sorts. Um, so you've just had some sort of victory. Let's see what's in the sky. We have the Queen of Pentacles. So this is the sustainer. The Queen of if this is spirit giving us advice, because it's in the sky, the Queen of Pentacles would be would tell you to value what you have, to be grateful for what you have. Yeah. The Queen of Pentacles. It can also be a woman, the energy of a woman who understands the value of things. Huh. Let's see what the future is. This is the card that would be associated with the whole month, and we get the 10, the Wheel of Fortune, which is the vibration of the month. So big change. So Libra, there is huge, huge, huge change here. Um, Definitely something is coming to an end. Let's see how it's seen from the outside. The Knight of Wands. I mean, look at this card, right? Coming rushing at you, the Knight of Wands. It's called the Lord of Flame and Lightning. And there's a boar on the up there. See that? The head of the boar with all its tusks, I guess. They look pretty awful. I can't imagine the boar can get through the forest with those tusks, but it is this, or is that a horse? Hold on one second. Oh, it's a horse. It's not a boar. Oh, that's funny. It's a horse's head. So this is a sort of a proselytizing card. People may, this is like, you know what this looks like to me? Like Paul Revere, right? Somebody coming with a warning. So people see you as a Paul Revere character. Your domestic situation, the Two of Cups, the Lord of Love. So your relationships at home, you're making relationships. This is a very positive card for your domestic situation. You're in agreement. Venus in Cancer. You're supporting your family. You're protecting your family. You love your family. Is it your family family? Is it your family of friends? Is it your family of humanity? Probably all of those, but you would know more specifically. Hopes and fears, the Five of Pentacles, that's sort of bankruptcy. So I would say that's a fear, loss of resources, loss of stability. The outcome is temperance. So a balancing. This is a balancing card. This is a healing card. It isn't an easy card. Temperance is about walking the straight and narrow and not getting caught up in extremes, but it does bode well for healing. So these cards are really talking about, honestly, the worst is over, um, and that because of your past actions, things are changing and things are balancing out and things are healing. All right, let's see what's underneath it. We have the Knight of Swords, which can be impulsive action. It's interesting that in this deck, the Knight of Swords is not rushing. So in this deck, the Knight of Swords is much more circumspect before he takes an action. The Queen of Cups, this is the queen that can see, the psychic queen. This is nurturance. And the Eight of Pentacles, work and craftsmanship and apprenticeship. I like the Eight of Pentacles. It's sort of the Zen of work. You know, when things are really, when the world is just too crazy, and you sort of go into your place of, let me do this task. That sort of before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. It's like you do those things that bring normality to your life, with that Eight of Pentacles. What's underneath it? I feel like there are people around you that you actually can, even though we have all this betrayal in the beginning, there are, it's not, that's not a, it's not, it's a past, but not a future, in that the people around you are people that are going to support you and not either pull the rug out from under you or stab you in the back. So you have good people around you, especially the people in your home. They do care and they will help in whatever way they can. But your relationships are good. Your relationships are good. I'm glad to see it because it hasn't been easy. I know Libra has had some pretty rough cards. If I don't remember what I say from month to month because it's 12 signs and I'm lucky I know what day it is. But I do know that very often Libra has a difficult path, and I think maybe that was true the last couple of readings. All right, let's pull I'm pulling a Crystal Ally card. This is a great deck. It's called the Crystal Ally deck, and it's by a woman named Naisha Ashian, and you can get them. You can look it up, um, Google it. It's a great deck with fantastic information. She does such a beautiful job. Um, and I'm going to pick a card. Now, some of these crystals are very easy to find, and some are more rare. So what I would suggest is if you want to work with the energy of the crystal and it happens to be a rare one, you can just get a picture of it and put it up on your screen and look at it. You could do that if you need to. Okay, hold on. Or you can get a little piece if it's not too expensive. We have bloodstone, which is courage. That is not an expensive stone. I have one here, a little bloodstone. You can get a piece, maybe not a circle like this, as a globe, but you can get a piece of bloodstone for just a couple of bucks, $2, $3 maybe, right? But it's got little flecks of red in it. This is courage. This is about moving forward courageously. This is the third time this card has come up in the readings. So that's interesting because it's telling us we're going to need courage. We're all going to need courage, but it's about knowing that you can see as she walks here, it's like the earth comes up to support her because as she strides forward, right? Um, and she has her shield, so she's not. Notice she doesn't have a weapon necessarily. She has a shield for protection, but she definitely has her eye on the prize here, right? Okay, so um, courage, courage, courage. So if you need a little courage, get a little bloodstone. All right, well, and it is an earth element stone. So it's a stone to help stabilize us. In fact, funny enough, I'm wearing my bloodstone bracelet. I think this was $12, something like that. I love bloodstone. It's a great stone. It's a warrior stone. It's a protection stone. We need all the protection that we can get. All right, guys, have yourself a good month. Like and subscribe. Um, as always, it's always a pleasure to spend time with you. So I'll see you next month. Namaste.